Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Sara and this will be my first video that's not Project Pan based. And also sorry if the lights keep changing because I have a big window on this side of me and the sun decided to show itself, and we've had like a month of gray skies and apparently not right now. So this will be, it's kind of a tag. I'm not really sure. I'm not that good at YouTubing, but I've seen a lot of creators do this, and it's would I repurchase these 10 random palettes? I've seen Misty do it, and I have no idea who else. There's a lot. I've watched a lot of these videos. If I remember any more, if I remember anyone else, I will put their name and links to their channels down in the description. But I've seen a lot of people do this kind of video, so I'm not taking any credit. So, and because I have a lot of palettes, I didn't include my unused palettes because I don't really have an opinion of them yet. And I also didn't want to put all my palettes in a spreadsheet and randomize that way, so I got my boyfriend to randomize for me. He picked up 10 random palettes out of my drawers. I will go through the palettes one by one and talk a bit about if I would repurchase them again now if I lost them, technically, and what I like and don't like about them. And first I got the Fenty Beauty Snap Shadow palette in number 10, Money, which is the green one of the later ones, I think. I think this and Wine came at the same time, and it looks like this. I have a pan in it because it was in a project pan, but this one I would never repurchase. I have one more of these kind of palettes in the pastel shades, and they are terrible. For such a high price point, these are not worth your money. I've gotten better palettes from the drugstore. They're powdery. I don't like the shimmers. It's just really bad, so I want to try to maybe hit pan on these or have it as pan that palette just to get it out of my collection, because I love the colors but I hate the performance. So I will try to make it work more for me in the future, but if I can't get any enjoyment out of it, I will probably just get rid of it because it's one of the worst eyeshadow palettes I own. So we're starting off on a terrible palette. And if you like any of the palettes I don't like, or vice versa, everyone has different experiences and different skin textures and stuff like that. So if you like it, that's amazing, because I want people to like what they own. But for me, that one really didn't work. Now, for something a bit different, it's from Beauty Bay. It's a Dumbo palette. This one I got as a gift with purchase, so I didn't buy it myself. And it's kind of a mix between muted pastels and two really bright primary colors here, a red and a blue. And this one I've actually used, and I like the pastels in it because I have such a pale skin tone. Pastels work really well for me because I don't have much pigment in my skin, so I can use a white base without it looking too stark on my skin. So this one I think performs really well. I like the Beauty Bay formula. Oh, I can't speak. The Beauty Bay formula. In that way, this palette is really nice. But because it was a gift to purchase, it's not something I chose myself. And I have colors that are similar to these ones. I actually wouldn't repurchase it if I didn't have it. I don't think I would miss it if I didn't have it. But because I have it, I'm using it. when I remember. So this one would also be not a repurchase. And now for something that's maybe a bit controversial, it's the Pure Raw Beauty Christie palette. I actually, when this launched, it was kind of a hassle to get it because I went into queue and was like number 2000 in queue for it when it launched, and I didn't want to stay up because I think it was something with the time difference in the middle of the night or something, because I'm in Europe. And the next day it was sold out, but they got a pre-sale so for another launch of it, and I got into that queue and got the palette, but it wasn't worth the hassle. I have used it. I like the colors, but because it's double-sided and this side is more neutral with colors I have in other places, I usually forget to use it. And also because it was so hard to get my hands on, I kind of treat it like it's precious, and I don't want to use things that are precious to me because I don't want them to run out or break and stuff like that. Really stupid mindset, which I'm trying to get over and use stuff that are meaningful to me. But so I haven't used this that much, but I really like the quality, and she did a really nice job curating which colors goes into this. But I don't want to go through that kind of hassle again, so I think those kind of launches I won't purchase anymore. And if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have bought it. It was kind of expensive, and just because it's double-sided, it's a hassle to use. So I thought it would be more practical, but it's not just for me. So if it was two 9-pan palettes, I would have bought one side, the more colorful one. But because the other one is there too, not getting used, it's a bit of a waste. So this one I wouldn't repurchase if I didn't have it and it was still available. Having trouble to talk today. Then I have a ColourPop palette. This one is in my 50 Shades of Green project pan. I love the outside packaging. It's beautiful with all the flowers and succulents, I think it's called. But the color story on the inside, I have to admit, the green sucked me in, the green and the pink. But if you take those away, it's just a neutral brown beige palette, and it's really boring. I like the quality of the ColourPop shadows, but the color story isn't really for me. I wouldn't buy it again, but if they sold this packaging as just a C palette kind of thing, magnetic palette, I would buy the packaging because I think it's beautiful, and you can never have too many magnetic palettes. But this color story isn't really something that wows me because I like more color, and it's too neutral. So this one I wouldn't repurchase again. I have a lot of palettes that I like, but I don't love enough to want to have them again if I lost them. Then I have the Dragon Fruit palette from Cleona Cosmetic. And it was a collaboration with Emily Violet Marie. And this is the first Cleona shadows I own because I wanted their stained glass shadows for a long time, but they're super expensive, and with shipping and taxes it would be too much. But this one was in my price range, and I get to try their formula. It looks like this. It's all shimmer and duochromes and everything that's nice. And this one I would actually repurchase because it's so lovely and so vibrant, and I'm just a bit scared to using it because I don't want to to destroy it, to get it messy with the embossing and stuff like that. But this is one I would absolutely repurchase, and I would be heartbroken if it got destroyed or I lost it. So at least it's one I would repurchase. Then I have another Colourpop, Fade into Hue, which is one of the big palettes, which looks like this. And as you probably can tell, I took all the pressed glitters out because they're only messy and I don't use them on my eyes. But this is actually also something I would repurchase. I don't like the colors that are kind of like a satin with glitter in them. There are a few, but because I like color, and these are a nice transition shades with most of my shimmers, and the shimmers are also really lovely. It's a bit pale, so for darker skin tones, I don't think this is the best kind of palette, but for me that's super pale. It works amazingly, and yeah, for the price you get a lot of product for your money. So this one would absolutely be a repurchase for me. It can actually, with this, I don't really need to use a lot of the other Colourpop shades I have, so I could probably do a bit of a purge into my Colourpop shades, but I don't want to do. It's too much of a hassle, so probably I'll keep everything so far. But this one I would repurchase. Then I have a BH Cosmetics Sweet Shop palette. I have all of these palettes, which was... I found out about these by coincidence on Instagram, and I love them. They're so colorful and so smooth, and the shimmers are so impactful. Maybe that this is one of my least favorite of them, but if I lost all of them, I would repurchase in a heartbeat if I could. These are one of my favorite series of palettes, and I really love them, and I wish I used them more. Then I have another collab palette. This is the Sydney Grace Temptalia palette, and I have no idea which one this is. Is it the bottom one? It says RR Light. I don't remember which one that is or the name, but I have all three of them. And I have all of them in light, and it looks like this. This is also... Sydney Grace has a stunning formula, and I like these colors a lot. I'm a bit disappointed that I bought all three. I could have been more thoughtful and maybe not bought one of them, because even though all the colors are different, they overlap in the tone and the depth a lot. So I didn't really need to have all of them, the palettes, but I really, really love them, and they're excellent quality. So I would actually repurchase these if I didn't have them. Oh, wait. Radiant Reflection. I found the name. It's because I had my hand on there. Then it's my Sigma Untamed palette, which is... I bought it because I was kind of lusting after the Subculture palette, and this was also kind of grungy with the green and the mustard. But then I bought the Subculture also, and they're kind of different. But this is the first Sigma palette I've owned, and I'm actually not that impressed with the formula. Everyone says it's super good, and I believe them, but for me it's not really the kind of formula I like. I'm not sure what it is, but I didn't really like the shimmers. They're a bit too powdery for me, I think. So this one I wouldn't repurchase. But it's a good palette. I like the colors, but I wouldn't repurchase it because it's not my favorite. And then lastly, I have the Anastasia Riviera palette. This one I wanted for so many months, and it was out of stock every time I was weak and wanted to buy it. And then I found out that it was in stock at the makeup store in my town. So I bought it. It's lovely, but the two colors I bought it for, Mediterranean over here and Seychelles over there, they're not what I expected. I thought that they would be more bright, but they have kind of a dark base pigment to them, so they're not really my cup of tea actually, and they were the colors I thought I would love the most. But overall, the Anastasia shadow formula is amazing. However you think about the brand, and I can't really regret buying it because I haven't gotten a lot of use of it, but every look I've tried have been really nice, except when I tried to use those two shades in a way that I thought would work, but turned out didn't, so I had to redo it. But I'm not sure if I would repurchase. It's not my favorite Anastasia palette. Like the Sultry palette, I would repurchase. But this one, it's kind of... I'm not sure. If I want colorful, I usually use one of my other palettes that I have, that I prefer more. So probably I wouldn't repurchase this. Which is a bit sad, because out of 10 palettes, I have only 3 palettes that I would repurchase. So that says a lot about how I've been buying palettes. I fall for packaging or color story or hype, like with the Raw Beauty Christie one, and don't think through, will I really use it, or how neutral is it? So I think I have to be more selective with my way of buying eyeshadow palettes, because I have a lot, and more than I probably can use in a lifetime. So it's kind of a wake-up call for me. But hopefully you enjoyed a bit of insight to what I think about my palettes, and hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos kind of like this if you enjoy them. So thank you so much for watching, and please consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.